So if there are issues with any problems within the family, okay, if you've got a tendency towards high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, and whatnot, then you know, okay, don't eat so much fat, stay away from sugar and salt, eat lean, leafy vegetables, so forth and so on. Otherwise, then why have the information if you're not going to use it to improve your family, to improve yourself? Then you have the ancestral soul. Okay, we just covered that. We have the astral soul. What Orisha rules your head, or what is your astrological sign? So they have them combined here. Are you Aries, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, Leo? Are you Oshun, Obatala, Yemonja, Shongo, Ogun, Obaluaye, Ifa? What is your astral? How do you view the world? How does the world view you? So then we have our historical soul. Historical soul, generational soul. What generation were you born in? Are you 20 years old? Are you 30 years old? Are you 40 years old? Are you 60 years old? Are you 100? That's your historical soul. That will allow you to reflect on your own personal experiences, and the longer you live, hopefully the more you learn, because learning is a lifelong process, or at least should be. You should always seek to learn something new regularly. Some people say every day, but and if you pay attention, you can learn something new every day. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, keep your mouth shut for the most part, and you can learn something. And you can learn from anyone in any situation if you are attentive, and that is your purpose or what you're trying to do. Yes,
Chief. In talking about, are you able to hear me?
I can now. I didn't. I hope you weren't saying something earlier. That's the first words we've heard from you in quite a while.
No. I was just listening. I was being very attentive. But I wanted to ask you, in talking about when you made the statement about you can learn something from anyone, I wanted to ask you, how does an uninitiate set up an ancestral shrine? Can we talk about that?
Okay, we can.
Okay.
Let me finish with the ninth soul. The historical soul was the eighth soul. And then, last but not least, and maybe last and least, is the personal soul.
Okay.
How are you as an individual? That's the ninth soul. Now, how does an initiated person set up an ancestral altar or shrine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do we want to discuss that now, or you want to take the break now?
Well, we can take the break because I know you've been talking.
Oh, no, like I said, I could go off the top for about a couple of hours on this topic. Okay, the how a person does that, and let me give a quick plug here. We have just reprinted a work we did some years ago called Ancestor Veneration. So if anyone would like a copy of that, they can contact you, or they can contact ourselves, and they can get a copy. Right now during the festival and the Egungun festival, it's $5. I hope that's not out of place. And in honor of your show and for us being on here, anyone who contacts us and uses you as a contact, we will sell it to them at the sale price of $5. Okay. How a person sets that up. There's a process, and a lot of people don't know what that process is. But the first thing you need to do is write a list of your family, your dearly departed loved ones, your maternal line and your paternal line, a list of your mother's people, a list of your father's people. If you are, and that was another question on there, if you are adopted, you venerate your ancestors. We do know that because there are more ancestors who we don't know than we do know. You might have a list of 100 people on it or more, but there's still more of your ancestors that you have no idea what their names are. So even an adopted person, someone who have no recollection or no knowledge of who their ancestors are by name, can still venerate their ancestors, because once you finish that list of names and you're calling your ancestors whose names you do know, then you would say something to the effect of, I salute, and what we do is we say, Iba, Olodumare, Olodumare Ajuba, Bokudi Kulua, Timbelese, Olodumare, Iba, Ara, Torun. That says we pay homage to God, Olodumare. We salute all of our venerated ancestors who sit at the foot of God in the lifetime to come. Then you go through that list of names that you know. In my case, I would say something like Grandpa Raleigh, Ibada Tarun. Mama Oretta, Ibada Tarun. Baba Wesley. So forth and so on. Till I go through that Yeye Me Pearl. And I'd go through that list until I get to the end of it. And then we would say, I salute all of my venerated ancestors who are fortunate enough to be buried in the soil of Africa. Ibara Torun. I salute all of my venerated ancestors who died during the Middle Passage. Ibara Torun. I salute all of my venerated ancestors scattered throughout the diaspora. Ibara Torun. I salute all of my venerated ancestors whose names I don't know. Ibara Torun. I salute all of my venerated ancestors whose names I didn't call. Because no matter how hard you try, you might know the name and don't have it on that list. So then you've included all of your ancestors, those known and unknown. So a person who is adopted, and they can still pay homage or respect to those people who adopted them, if they are of the same ethnic and racial context. And that, and even other, let's get deep into this now. That we have several multi-racial people in the world. Most of us are. So we say, well, how can I salute my European ancestors on an African ancestral shrine? You would have a altar for those non-Africans. It could be at the foot of a big tree. It could be another place in your home. It could be an outbuilding. It could be wherever. And you could pay homage to them. The same thing would apply if you are adopted. You could salute the family, your adopted family, as part, because of the thanks that you're paying them for the adoption. But you want to have a place where you salute your bloodline, which is what your ancestors represent, your bloodline. Even though you don't know their names, even though you have no idea who they are, they know you, and they are keeping an eye on you. So when you begin to call, and we've had this happen more than once, I've had people who have come to me for roots readings, and they've been in that situation. I'm adopted, or I want to set up my ancestral altar. I'm adopted. I don't have any name, so forth and so on. So we give them the formula, and I said they will help you to make contact. And it might take years, but I would gainsay that the majority of them have now found out something, or some relative or something about their family line, their bloodline, even though they didn't know anyone when they started the process. So that may also occur. But, okay, so you've got the list of names, and we've covered the adopted persons. You want to gather, if you're not adopted and you have photographs of your dearly departed loved ones, obituaries, family photos, and you don't, and let me say this because I've seen that happen too, you don't want to put a picture on the ancestral altar of a deceased relative who has someone who is not deceased in it or on it. So you don't want to mix and match. So just ancestors or deceased relatives you want on the shrine. You know, over there in the picture with my cousin over there, oh, it's all right. I'll just make sure that it's just ancestors on the shrine. If you're lucky enough to have any family heirlooms, a piece of cloth, a piece of jewelry, some artifact, article that the ancestor used while they were walking around on Earth, and you inherited that, maybe you were the caretaker to when you did start venerating your ancestors to put it there. So you place those things. You find a place in your home, someplace quiet, someplace where you don't have a lot of traffic, so you wouldn't want to put it in the main hall that everybody's got to go back and forth to the kitchen or the bathroom or someplace like that. Ideally, if you've got space in your house, you'd have a special room for your ancestors or a large closet for your ancestors. And we've told people that, and then we've gone, because we tell them, okay, you start this process and you just keep it up, incense, candles, water, for 6 to 9 months or a year, just cleansing, healing, uplifting those spirits in your family. And then we go to their house to consecrate the shrine, and they've got their altar set up in a closet where they're hanging clothes and they're burning candles in this closet. Come on, what part of? So it's not funny actually, because a lot of people just don't know. But at the same time, so you want to find a place that is private, but not necessarily secret, because there's nothing negative or harmful or ignorant about venerating your ancestors. Although you will, for the most. Well, let me leave that there. So you find a place that is private, that is quiet, some place that you can meditate, some place that you can pray for however long you need to. You gather the list of names. You might get someone to do it in calligraphy, or something. But at any rate, when you finish with this list, you want to put it in a frame so it stands up. If you have any photographs, you can put those in picture frames. You want to find this place in your house that's private, quiet, and if it can be a place, a room of its own or a large of its own, then you would do that. If it's in a room that must be shared with some other activity or whatnot, put it on a low table or on the floor, up against the wall or in a corner. And then use what we call efun, or you can use chalk, white chalk, and mark a line wherever the boundary, you want the boundary of that altar to be. So you can mark it with efun or you can mark it with white chalk. So if it's in a corner, you've got a 90-degree angle in the corner, and then you draw, whether it's 3 feet out, 4 feet out, 5 feet out, from left wall to right wall. So that's your altar. Find a nice piece of African cloth or shawkey if you can afford it, guinea, or African print, or mat that you would then place all of these things on, the photographs, the list of names. Then you want to gather together candles, incense holders, and you want to use incense, frankincense, and myrrh, sandalwood, jasmine, lavender, hyssop, things like that, coconut. You want to put there cut flowers there, and we try and discourage that. Not discourage, but put a live plant there, something that you care for, rather than if you put cut flowers there, they'll be there for a hot minute, and then they're dead. Whereas if you put a live plant, a live flower, or some type of small shrub, it's something that will continue to grow, and it'll be kind of an indicator of your attention to your ancestors